Okay, section 5.3, solving multi-step inequalities. Example 1A. Write and solve an inequality to find the sales Mrs. Jones needs if she earns a monthly salary of $2,000 plus 10% commission on her sales. Her goal is to make at least $4,000 per month. What sales does she need to meet her goal? Guys, this is a very important equation because the majority of you will be in sales when you graduate and become an adult. How many of you parents are in sales? They get paid based on what they sell. That's called commission. So the very first thing we have what's called a base salary. Like if you just show up for work and you don't sell a darn thing, you get a base salary of $2,000. Plus a 10% commission of her sales. Commission is based on how much you sell. And she's going to get 10%. So we multiply how much she sold. Do we know what her sales is? No. But we know that she's going to get 10% of that. And of means to multiply. Now don't forget, percent, we have to move to a decimal. How do you move a percent to a decimal? Move it 2 places to the left and drop the percent sign. So it's 0.10x. Her goal is to make at least $4,000. Now, at least, what inequality is with at least? If you don't remember, go back and look at your chart in the notes in the section. What? Is it less than or equal to, Sarah? Greater than or equal to. And that kind of makes sense. You can make more money to pay all your bills, but you just can't make less. So at least, y'all got to remember, at least is greater than or equal to. Now, this is an equation we're going to have to solve. We're going to subtract 2,000 first. Divide by 0.10. Now, for those of you who don't know the shortcut, let me show you. Let's go to the side and long divide. We have to move the decimal to where it's at the end, so we have to move our decimal 2 places to the right. So what are we going to have to do here? Add 2 zeros. Now that's just 10 into 200,000. 10 goes into 20 2 times, and how many zeros? 4 zeros. 2, 3, 4. So 20,000. And what is that? 20,000 what? We need to sell, or she needs to sell, at least $20,000. Now, it didn't say what they sold, what the product was, so we can't exactly say what they're selling. Okay, any questions on that one? The print shop advertises a special to print 400 flyers for less than the competition. The price includes a $3.50 setup fee. If the competition charges $35.50, what does the print shop charge for each flyer? Okay, a setup fee is just a one-time cost. So what we get charged right off the bat, $3.50. Plus, how many flyers are we getting printed? 400. Do we know how much we're getting charged? No. So that would be 400 what? X. Now, we do know that the competition charges $35.50, and we want to be less than the competition. Can we be exactly what the competition is? No, we've got to be less than. So what inequality would we write? Less than $35.50. So that is our equation. Did y'all get that? And then to solve it, we're going to subtract 350. Divide by 400. Now, if you have a calculator, great. If not, I've got to add a decimal and 2 zeros. So what does the competition charge? 8 cents. So we have to be less than 8 cents, don't we? So what could we charge? We could charge 7 cents. Okay, so we need to charge less than 7 cents a copy. Okay, or you could say 0.07. Or, excuse me, I'm not 7, 8. Or you could say it like this. Okay, you either say it 8 cents like this, or you could, this is another way of writing 8 cents. Example 208. Negative 11y minus 13 is greater than 42. So this is a multi-step equation. And this is this, just like we've had in the past, instead of an equation, it's going to be an inequality where we solve for the variable. So first we're going to add 13. So that's a negative 11y is greater than 35. Divide by negative 11. Now remember, what happens when we divide by a negative number? Flip the symbol, so it becomes a less than negative 5. Now, we talked about set builder notation. Let's just practice doing it one time and then we won't do it again. Set builder notation. Put in braces, y such that y is less than negative 5. Close the braces. To graph it, open circle at negative 5, and y stands for all numbers that are less than negative 5. What numbers are less than negative 5? Numbers to the left. Example 2b, y'all do this one. When we subtract 10, we get 13 is greater than or equal to negative 2x, correct? Now what do we have to do? Divide by negative 2, right? Now, does negative 2 go into 13 evenly? Do I leave it as an improper fraction, or do I have to turn it into a mixed number? I have to turn it into a mixed number because I'm graphing. Would you shut the door, please? So that's a negative 6.5. Because I divided by a negative number, I'm going to flip the symbol. Now, am I done? Now, remember, you must write variable on the left. So I've got to rewrite it and say x is greater than or equal to negative 6.5. When I go to graph it, what am I going to count by on my number line? Halves. Okay, so negative 6.5 is right here, close circle, and in all values that are greater than negative 6.5, which goes to the right. Okay, so be very careful about your inequalities. We had to kind of flip it twice, per se. Any questions on that one? Example 3a, write an inequality and solve the problem. 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times the number plus 45. Okay, 5 minus 6 times a number. Right there, that's 5 minus 6 times a number. Is more than. Now what sign is more than? Greater than. Is it a greater than or greater than or equal to? Just greater than. 4 times the number. 4 times the number, meaning the same number, so we're going to use the same variable, plus 45. So let's solve it. I'm going to subtract 4x on both sides. So that's 5 minus 10x is greater than 45. Subtract 5. That's negative 10x is greater than 40. Divide by negative 10. Because I divided by a negative number, I'm going to flip it and get negative 4. Now, it didn't say to graph, and we're skipping the set builder notation, so here's my answer. Okay, you come up with the equation for this one. 2 more than half of a number is greater than 27. Okay, right here where it says 2 more than, that means something plus 2. Half of a number. How would I write half of a number? 1/2 x plus 2. Now, how many of you wrote 2 plus 1/2 x? Is greater than 27. So there's our equation. To solve, I am going to subtract 2 on both sides. So that's 1/2 x is greater than 25. And then to solve, I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. What is the reciprocal of 1/2? 2 over 1, or could I just say 2? Yes. So x is greater than 50. Okay, we have to think back to solving equations. We treat solving equations just like inequalities. The very first thing that we're going to have to do is to clear our parentheses. So we're going to do the distributive property and get 12x minus 20 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 8x plus 3. Now, I have to combine like terms on the left side of the equal sign. Negative 20 plus 7 is a negative 13. Okay, so these 2 steps is my cleaning up phase. Now I'm ready to solve. So I am going to subtract 8x on both sides. So that's 4x minus 13 is greater than or equal to 3. Add 13. So that's 4x is greater than or equal to 16. Divide by 4. I'm going to run out of room, so I'm going to write it to the side. X is greater than or equal to 4. So this is my final answer. Graph it. Close circle at 4 and everything to the right. Okay? Okay, example B. Go ahead and write this down. Very first thing we're going to have to do is the distributive property. Now in this problem, remember I want the variable on the left side, but there's a problem. I cannot move the variable on the left side right now because that 36x is sitting over there all by itself. So I have to subtract the 30x. So negative 18 is less than or equal to 6x. Then divide by 6. Negative 18 divided by 6 is a negative 3 is less than or equal to x. Am I done? No. Now I need to rewrite it with the x being on the left side. So this is saying x is greater than or equal to -3. That is my final answer. Close circle at -3 and everything to the right. Okay, example 4C. Copy the problem down. First thing we're going to have to do is the distributive property. Okay, we're going to do the distributive property, and then we're going to subtract 3h on both sides. So that's -1h plus 12 is greater than -24. Subtract 12. So that's -1h is greater than -36. Divide by -1. Because I divided by a negative, I flip it. And it's a positive 36. So that is your final answer. Is that what y'all got? Okay. And then to graph it, open circle at 36 and it goes to the left. Okay, first thing we're going to do is the distributive property, bring down the 9x. Now be very careful here. What are we distributing, 5 or -5? -5. So -5 times x is a -5x. And then -5 times a -5 is a positive 25. That's where people make their mistakes, so be very careful about that. And then 4x minus 12. Combine like terms. 9x minus 5x is 4x plus 25 is less than or equal to 4x minus 12. I am going to subtract 4x on both sides. Now look what happens. My variables went away on both sides. Now think back to chapter 2 and 3. When your variables go away, you have to drop down what you have. If it's a true statement, the answer is all real numbers. If it's a false statement, the answer is no solution. Do y'all remember that? Okay, so let's bring that down. So that's 25 is less than or equal to -12. Is 25 less than or equal to -12? That is a false statement, isn't it? So what is my answer? No solution. That means that nothing works. We can plug in any number for x up here, and it will never work. You will never get a solution. It will never be a true statement. And when you have no solution, is there anything to graph? No, there's nothing to graph. So that's the problem, that you don't have to graph. When you get a no solution, you don't have to graph that one. Okay. Example 5b, copy that down. First thing we do, distributive property. 12m plus 18 is less than or equal to 42 plus 12m minus 24. I can't combine anything on the left side, but look on the right side. 42 minus 24 is what? 18. Subtract 12m on both sides, and the variables go away. So bring down everything we have. 18 is less than or equal to 18. Is that a true or a false statement? True statement. So when it's a true statement, what is the answer? All real numbers. Now, when you graph, what if you had to graph this? we would graph the whole number line. How would you show graphing the whole thing? Like that. I was graphing the whole thing. That means that any number works, or every single number works. Y'all do this one by yourself. Now, when you get to this point, you can kind of look to see that the left side is equal to the right side, isn't it? I mean, even though the 6 and the negative 24 is flipped around. Oh. But if you want to go one step further, which I'd kind of like you to, especially, and then get this. And that is a true statement, so what is the answer? All real numbers. And you can also skip graphing all real numbers too. Okay, do this one. Okay, when you do the distributive property and then you combine ADM minus ADM is, you get a 0M, or it just goes away. So is 46 less than or equal to, oh, that should be a negative 20. Minus 20, negative 20. Is 46 less than or equal to negative 20? Is that a true or false statement? False statement. So what is my answer? No solution. And we don't have to graph that. And that concludes section 5.3.